We're going to talk about this frame that came in with this painting in it, and it was much beloved. It's over 200 years old, and this family had it suffer a fall off the wall. It had lost all of the molding, and they had been smart enough to save pieces, but it was shattered, and so were their hearts about having this piece broken. So they had a baggie of pieces, and they brought them in with this piece in high hopes that we could get it fixed for them. And I took a look at it and I thought, yeah, I can do this. So I got to work, and it was a puzzle trying to figure out all these pieces that looked exactly the same, to figure out where they go and get them glued into place. Also, when you're doing work like this, you have to make sure you don't get locked out, because sometimes the order that you put the pieces in can actually prevent the one last piece from sliding into place the way it should. So here I am trying to get all the glue in there and firm, but obviously not get it over the rest of the frame. And one little bit at a time, I had to figure out where every single piece in this frame went, and they all kind of looked almost exactly the same. But all of them did have a place, and I figured it all out. Took a little while, but got it all put into place. And that was just the beginning of taking care of this family heirloom, because after this was done, there was just so much more to be done to make it sure that this frame was going to look as good as it could. Looks like I decided to give my glue some screen time here. Hello, glue. And then I finished up with the very last few pieces of taking care of this frame and got all the molding in place. And I actually glued some of the outside pieces that are right in front of me and right in front of the glue in this video. Glued those back in place as much as I could too. But when I was done, there was still a lot of pieces that needed to be filled. So it's time to get to work. And once everything was back in place as far as the outside molding, it already looks a lot better. But we still have some issues with the inside finials and decorations that have been busted. There's still little bits and pieces here and there that just don't look right because they've been busted out. So all of those have to be filled in by hand. And this is me getting to it. I also did do a little bit of cleaning on the top side of this frame just to brighten it up a little bit, because it had been pretty badly dirty, but I didn't want to take off all the patina of the piece, so I just did a pretty light cleaning on that to brighten it up again. And that was that as far as cleaning goes. Then painting has to start. So when I'm painting here, you can kind of see that the paint I'm using doesn't exactly match the piece, but that's because of the fact that when I start painting, I usually start with a very dark gold paint, almost black, and I layer on paint on top of it until it gets bright enough where it actually matches. So here are some of the fills that I completed before they were painted. And you can see there's just so much of this frame that had to be repaired. So much. Even those little beads down at the bottom. Those little finials are actually pretty fun to make. And then there's the black that I start with. And once it's all painted, lighter and lighter, it matches really well. Then it's time to clean a painting, because when the frame is done, the painting is still left to be taken care of. So I got out my cleaning supplies and did some of my favorite work. This is a before picture. There is a half clean picture, and now the upper right is still yet to be done. And then all clean. So to see a little detail of that last section of dirt getting cleaned off, this is really, really sped up, obviously, but you guys can see how it just kind of strips away one little bit at a time. Cotton ball by cotton ball. And then, poof, she's done. I did one last pass on it after that too, because it just wasn't quite clean enough. But once it's reunited and ready to go back to its family, it looks great. I hope that the family that picks this up is as happy to get it back as I was to work on it.